Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How's everybody doing on this lovely evening? First of all, Mr. Race Van, thank you very much for the 4 months of support. I really do appreciate it. How are you doing? So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to look at Twitter, apparently. No, that's the wrong screen. I hear there's a really nice soup on Twitter right now, so you guys might want to make sure you grab that. No, we are going to be looking at the brand new roadmap. This is going to be the Spring 2018 or Q2 roadmap for Star Wars The Old Republic. Let me move this over here. SWTORista's here. Well, hello. So if you're not familiar with the way that BioWare is currently doing their roadmaps, they actually have changed things a little bit, and even for this roadmap, they actually changed things even a little bit more. Because initially what they were doing is they would do like a yearly roadmap or maybe a 6-month roadmap. Then last year they decided, okay, we're going to do quarterly roadmaps, which is why I'm basically calling this the Q2. Because this is going to cover only 2 updates. It's going to cover Game Update 5.8 and Game Update 5.9. So, before we get started, anybody have any questions? Cat's paw. You read the notes already and you had a laugh? I've skimmed them a couple of times. I've not really gone through the whole thing. Yeah, it's basically what's happening in March and April. Yep. Now, something else that they did a little bit different for this one is normally when they do a roadmap, they'll actually do a real fancy post on the front page. And again, for whatever reason, they decided not to do that, and they ended up just posting it in the forums. So if you're not someone who's checking the dev posts on the forums, it's possible that you may not even know this dropped today. Because again, it wasn't on the front page or anything like that. So, well, I think we'll go ahead and get into it. And then as we're going through it, we'll take some pauses. And of course, if anybody has any questions, just go ahead and let me know. And we'll go ahead and grab those as they come up. So here's the first thing to note. March 13th is going to be Game Update 5.8. And it's called Command Authority. Or Authority. Hey, War Effect, how's it going? SWTOR Evan, Indiana Joe 24. How you guys doing? So, in Game Update 5.8, we will be getting the final boss in the Gods from the Machine operation. There will only be 2 modes with this, and it says here Story and Master Mode, but I think that is a typo, because it then goes on to say that this also means that we will not be offering a full master mode for all bosses in this operation. This was a difficult decision for us to make. Now, if we pause right there for a second and when we actually go up here, Musco was answering some other questions. And there was, let's see if I can find it again. But there was a thing where he said that it was actually story and veteran, but the veteran mode is like master mode. And of course, as soon as I'm looking for it, I can't find it. Where did he put that? Oh yeah, here we go. So yeah, it's being released in story mode and veteran mode, like all the other Gods from the Machine bosses. However, he is being balanced as if master mode difficulty. So there's the quote right there. So that's a little interesting. I've heard some very interesting theories on why they are basically just rushing through this operation to get it done. The theories that I've heard is because they are already starting on the next operation. So they just wanted to go ahead and get this done so they can work on the next one. And then in theory, the next one is also going to be in the expansion, which is 6.0. Whether or not they're actually going to be able to release 6.0 with a full op, which would be great, you know, who knows at this point. I think it really comes down to exactly how long do they want to delay that expansion. Now, I've already made the prediction that the expansion is probably going to be in the fall at earliest. Maybe July is my guess, but probably in August, September general area is what I kind of think on that. All right, have a good night, SWTORista. So as I'm seeing your comments pop up, I'll go through the rest of this here just a little bit. Now, it does say, as they continue on, for the final boss, they are going to have a special event. Everyone who does have the opportunity to basically beat him will receive new achievements and a special and unique title, and then a new and very interesting legacy-based reward. Of course, it doesn't actually say what that reward is, so it'll be interesting to see what that actually says. Hey, Ark, how's it going? So I'm already seeing from some of you in chat that you guys were not a fan of what was said in this roadmap today, even though we're still kind of working through it. The roadmap reeks of we don't have enough resources to do much. Well, I think that's definitely obvious at this point. There's been a lot said over the last couple of months about the potential state of this game, the potential state of BioWare, and of course, the fact that BioWare is doubling down on Anthem. They're putting pretty much everything they have into that game because Anthem has to be a success for them. If Anthem is not a success for them, then they are in some pretty big trouble, I think. Something we actually discussed during the 45-minute video that I did is I think EA as a whole, they are looking for their next Game of the Year contender. Because I will ask you guys this question. In 2017, out of all the games that EA released, were any of them a Game of the Year contender? And part 2 on that is, can any of you remember what was EA's last Game of the Year or Game of the Year contender? So, while you're thinking about that, we'll go through the final line here real quick, which is, for those people who do defeat the boss and get those rewards, we will deliver the title and reward when the actual launch of 5.9 happens. And the title for 5.9 is the Nathema Conspiracy. Although, if you are Mark Thompson, who is sort of the voice of Star Wars in audiobooks, he actually says it's Nathema and not Nathema. But Charles Boyd from the SWTOR team says it's Nathema, so we got kind of a fight happening there. FIFA? No, FIFA's never a Game of the Year contender for them, but if you don't know, every single year, FIFA is the game that makes EA the most money. The player base for FIFA is massive. Beats any MMO, beats World of Warcraft by double the numbers. That game is huge. But I'm trying to think if I've ever heard of a sports game up for a Game of the Year contender. Other than that particular category, they always do, best sports game of the year. Well, it's like FIFA or Madden every year. But no, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like the overall game of the year. Like last year was Horizon Zero Dawn for most people. Horizon or Persona, Hellblade were kind of the top 3, top 5, give or take. It's not a roadmap, but a quarterly update. Yeah, that's basically what I mentioned at the start. Because they're not doing, if you just jumped in, they're not doing the big roadmaps anymore. The year-long, these 6-month roadmaps. They're not doing those anymore. They're only doing quarterly roadmaps. So that covers operations for game update 5.8, basically just getting the final boss. Now, here's the next thing that I think is really interesting. And they're doing a full revamp on the Conquest system. Now, I've never actually been in a guild who's ever done anything with this Conquest system. I'd be really curious to know exactly how popular this system is in its current state. I do know some people who play it, and they have a lot of problems with it, and they've also said really, really good things about these particular revamps. So as we go through this, it basically says, we've all enjoyed receiving our rewards each week. Okay, in reality, they've been having problems, right? So they want Conquest to be consistently fun guild activity and for individual people as well. As a result, we have made major changes to the Conquest system, including a new interface, new daily objectives, new missions, and more. Okay, pretty simple there. A new Conquest vendor will appear. I'd like to see what's on that vendor, first of all. I know it kind of goes into it a little bit here, but a lot of times it seems like they will add in these vendors and there's not much on them. When they released the new Flashpoint, not the latest one, but the one before that, the train one, and the name is escaping me off the top of my head, but you know, I did a preview on that vendor, and that's the first thing I said. I was like, there's nothing on this vendor. It's like they should have tripled everything they had on that vendor, because at that point they wanted you to grind the tokens in order to access the train stronghold, but there just wasn't enough there to even worth grinding on the tokens, in my opinion. So that would be one of a piece of feedback that I would have. I'm sure that you guys agree with me on this. If BioWare ever sees this, and you got to have more stuff on these vendors. You have to make it worth it to do these token grinds, or in this case, the Conquest grind. We want stuff. That's what playing an MMO is all about. We want stuff. We want to build our characters. We want to level up our characters. We want gear. We want loot. So take these vendors, fill them with loot. Right? So, as it goes on to say, new Conquest vendor, it'll initially, and again, that's a good word, based on what I was just saying, initially have decor and a new companion boost, which this is kind of interesting. The new companion boost will increase your active companion's influence to 50. More on this below. Then goes into companions here for a second. Got some good stuff in here. I'm really curious as to how many people actually wanted the Arkan Romance. Everyone's favorite former villain has had a change of heart, and maybe more available than you might imagine, basically. It's like, okay. But here's sort of the big things. I know everybody wants this. Returning companions, Vector, Ashara. So there's your two for that one. Vector and Ashara. I think the second one, I've seen a couple people comment they want Vector back, but I know Ashara is definitely one of the bigger ones on people's list. So Cat's Paw is saying the companion boost to influence to 50. You're shocked that's not a Cartel Market item. You know, I partially agree with you on that. I'm surprised that they don't already have something on the Cartel Market for that. Yeah. Oh, and going back to the previous question, I was asking about the Game of the Year stuff. War Effect was saying that Mass Effect 3 was the last Game of the Year that you're aware of. There actually was one after that, and it was Dragon Age Inquisition. Dragon Age Inquisition came out, what was it, 3 years ago, 4 years ago? So it's been several years since EA has had a Game of the Year contender. So that's what they want with Anthem. That's why they're putting everything into it. So we'll see. So I saw Ark and a couple other people saying, you know, of course, it just seems like forever, you know, we see the comment of, oh, SWTOR is dying, or, oh, people are saying it's in maintenance mode or whatever. We're not there yet, guys. We're not there yet. As I've been saying, I think SWTOR is going to be fine for 2018, but beyond that, I don't know. But if it goes into maintenance mode, we wouldn't be seeing these updates. And, you know, they might not even do maintenance mode. They might just shut the whole thing down. You know, that's a really, really hard decision, because part of me says, okay, yeah, they might just go into maintenance mode, you know, down the road. But if that happens and they basically stop doing content for the game, I guarantee you that they'll keep up with the Cartel Market. I guarantee that. But on the other hand, EA might say, well, we want those resources. We need the devs from SWTOR to go over to Anthem or the next Dragon Age or whatever. And we need those servers. We need all that hardware. So they might just, if and when that ever happens, they might just pull the plug on the whole thing. You were there at the end of SWG, and this is nowhere near that. Yeah, exactly. I actually quit Star Wars Galaxies way before that. As I'm sure most of you know, Star Wars Galaxies is my favorite game of all time. So when the CU hit, it was devastating. When the NGE hit in that game, it was even more devastating. But I want to say off the top of my head, the last 6 months, 8 months, year of Galaxies, I never played it because it was just not good at that point. It's not like what it was, so we'll go ahead and move on to this new companion item, which cranks them up to 50. So it says, it was like just a little thing here. It's where it says, personally, I like having various companions with an influence of 50, right? Available, and this is a little weird, but level 50 available, and depending on the fight, you might want a ranged DPS or a melee healer or whatever. You always like, and then also like the various animations and barks. Okay, from the various companions. So we are introducing a new companion gift that can immediately raise the influence level of a companion to 50, but it's expensive and requires some crafting and requires you to complete your personal conquest objectives before you can purchase it from the vendor. Now, one immediate issue that I see with this, when it comes to people who are already playing the game, there was an exploit that happened about a month ago. Maybe it was 2 months ago at this point. And as part of that exploit, the developers actually said it was okay to use it. You're not going to get banned. And the exploit was, you could go to the companion gift vendor and you could basically max out all of your companions to level 50. So I know a lot of people did that. So I guess the question is this too late? Is this now useless? Are there so many people out there who already use the exploit that this isn't even worth it? So the question I would have for you in chat is this appealing to any of you? Would you actually do this and use it? You guys are talking about Dragon Age Origins now? So, a couple people in chat. So, people are saying that no, they would not use it so far. We don't have any yeses in chat. Okay, we now have one I might. I also did not use the exploit. I guess as a BioWare influencer, it might be kind of shady if I were to actually do that, so I stay away from that stuff. SWTOR Evan says, yes, they're just trying to get the people who didn't use it to pay for it. Oh, that's actually a good point, Race Van. Not all companions could use the gifts that were bugged. That is true. Well, we'll move down the list here just a little bit. Cartel Markets, we've improved. Right, Ark. We improved the way we operated the cartel market last year based on our feedback. Did they? The team is looking at making additional big changes, starting with game update 5.8, and we'll be giving you more details down the road. Be interesting to see what that is. And it'll also be interesting to see if these changes are based on what is currently happening in the wider gaming world. There are still some governments around the world who are looking into the whole loot box thing. Some are saying that it's not gambling. Some are saying that it is gambling. I think there's one country, I forget who it was, Russia or Netherlands. Somebody was looking at outlawing it in video games. So this is going to be an ongoing issue for the time being. We're definitely going to have to wait and see. And when they end up putting those things back into Battlefront 2, it's going to be also interesting to see what that does to that game. But yep, always keep an eye on the cartel market and see exactly what they're going to be changing. SWTOR John says, hopes that loot boxes will go away in all games. Yeah, me too. Cat Paw, you were saying, Hawaii. Yeah, Hawaii, the government in Hawaii has been quite on top of that. Yeah. So you said Sweden and Norway have banned loot boxes? Yeah, I want to say that there was a bigger country like Russia or one of them over there that has said something similar as well. So Travis was saying, problem is that if loot boxes go away, then you either get less games or more expensive games. And you know, that's actually been another really hot topic here recently. There are some developers out there who are saying that $60 is not enough for a video game, and the fact that they should easily be, just the default price we're talking about here, should be, you know, $80 to $100. And I think a lot of this talk has been coming from the AAA developers, because when you look at something like Steam and you look at all of the indie developers that are out there, they are proving that you can sell games and still make a lot of money and not have them be $60. You know, I think the token game last year was Hellblade: A Senua's Sacrifice, which was my game of the year. You know, that was a game that looked like a game that was made by 100 people. It looked like a game that was made by a AAA studio, yet was only made by 10 people They ended up selling that game for what, 20, 30 bucks or whatever, and they completely made all their money back in 2 weeks. So plus more by a country mile. Again, it was a $20 game or whatever it was at launch. It could be different now. And, you know, EA and a lot of the AAA companies, they keep talking about games as a service, which is why the Amy Hennig Star Wars game got canceled, because nobody wants a single-player Star Wars game. They want a Star Wars game that is a game as a service. And so a lot of content creators here recently have been saying, well, if you're going to do that, then your game should be free. Then you just go all crazy with your microtransactions and your loot boxes, because then you take a step back and you take a look at games like Warframe and Path of Exile, two games that are doing incredibly well, and they are completely free to play. Hours upon hours upon hundreds of hours of content in both those games. Updates all the time. It's crazy. All right, so we'll go ahead and move on to the next one. So again, if we back up here for a second, so they're saying March 13th is going to be the confirmed date for 5.8. So right at about a month away. Now, for the next one, which is going to be 5.9, they are saying April, but do not have a date just yet. So, new Flashpoint is what they're saying for topic number 1. And here they're talking about the continuing story that is going on. Now, if we back up here for a second and go back to 5.8, you'll notice that there was nothing in here said about the current story and what's going on with Theron and all that. So it appears that we're going to have to wait all the way until April to see what is going to be happening with that story and potentially what is going to be the conclusion with that story. So once again, they're doing the same thing they've been doing. Story inside Flashpoint, 2 birds with 1 stone. Okay. Next item on the list. We've added a new Powerful Augments. So that's interesting. Goes on to say, for those who need an additional stat to help them take down... And again, they list master mode here, but they said they're not doing master modes. I'm really confused by their patch notes a little bit. Or you simply want to be OP in this new Flashpoint. Yes, we want to be OP in the Flashpoints. Absolutely. We'll provide a legacy-based crafting patterns bind down pickup, which will drop randomly off of the mobs and bosses. If you're one of the lucky ones, you may also find a bind unequipped version of these same patterns. We'll follow up with the materials needed to craft these augments at a later date. So yeah, a little interesting that they would add almost like an additional layer of progression within this one Flashpoint. So there's some people in chat who were saying $100 for a game, and they're saying no. And then, yeah, you're right, Travis then kicks in and says people are already paying $100 or more when you factor in DLC and stuff. And you know, that kind of goes back to the core or the root of microtransactions in the first place. Because the developers discovered many, many years ago that people would actually spend more on microtransactions and loot boxes than they would for the actual game itself. And that's one of the big things that kicked this whole thing off, you know, several years ago. And it's just gotten to the point where it's just snowballed and snowballed and gotten, you know, crazier and crazier. And a lot of these games anymore have, you know, collector's editions and statue editions and all kinds of really, really crazy things. I traditionally don't buy a lot of that crazy stuff. It really depends on the game. Like, I'll tell you, a really crazy one. When a Civilization 6 came out, and, you know, the expansion for that just came out like a week ago. But when Civ 6 came out, I actually bought the highest collector's edition that they had for that game because of one perk that was part of that. And that one perk was that you would get all DLC for free. And I think I actually, if you have Amazon Prime, if you are able to get the box copy of a game, you actually get a discount. So I even got a discount on top of whatever that price was for the collector's edition. In the end, I ended up saving money on the whole deal because for Civ 6, they've released a bunch of little DLCs, maps, and more Civs and stuff like that. So it was actually a really good deal. But a lot of times when it comes to the collector's editions, it just really comes down to exactly what it is and if you can end up getting a good deal on it or not. I think the other collector's editions that I have, as I'm looking around my room, I bought the Overwatch one for the Soldier 76 statue, because that's actually a nice statue. That statue alone is probably worth somewhere between $80 and $130. Of course, I've got the SWTOR Collector's Edition. That had the Malga statue in the book and all that stuff. Then I've actually got the original Burning Crusade Collector's Edition. And I'm trying to think if I have any other ones. That might be it. Like just those 3 or 4. That's all I've ever bought for collector's editions. It's funny now, you go onto eBay and you look at that Burning Crusade collector's edition. That's actually worth a lot of money. I mean, the original World of Warcraft one's worth even more, but most people consider the Burning Crusade to be the best expansion that game ever had. Yeah, Fortnite's Battle Royale has been making a killing as of the free games. That's a perfect example. Absolutely perfect example. But it was good on Epic Games for what they did because they had Fortnite, right? And the game was not, it was kind of, kind of doing not that great. And then they threw in that free-to-play thing, and that took that game from 0 to hero.
Another loyal devotee.
Com9, or no, sorry, not Com9, OOM9. Thanks for the follow. And as Yoda might say, the king found someone, you have him? All right, so let's go ahead and continue on with this. We're actually almost near the end already because it's not. Yeah, I accidentally. I have another screen over and his name was cut off, and I thought it said Com9 because it was cut off. So I was like, wait a minute. Yeah, isn't there a Steam sale happening right now? I haven't had time to look, but that's a different story for a different day. Anywho, as we jump down here, so as we mentioned earlier,
another loyal devotee.
Is it Agent Iron Spider? I need to really move this window. These names are getting cut off. Also, thank you for the follow. So, as we mentioned before, the final boss in Gods from the Machine is coming in 5.8, but in 5.9, they are actually going to be doing some amazing new rewards for that particular boss. And then it says, in addition to what we already talked about, we are providing a new vendor just outside of the operation, offering special items to those players who have earned an achievement for killing that boss. Again, as I mentioned before, I would like to see exactly what is on that vendor. Oh, so Ark is saying the last paragraph is a lull. So, after that, we get into even more companions. And this is the only one that matters. Hey, Brian, how's it going? The return of my wife. As I hit the mic. Where's my Mako Ben? Where's my Mako Ben? But yep, so Jedi Consular and Bounty Hunter and Smuggler, so 3 companions returning. So they're really starting to rapid fire out these companions. I think they just want to get them done, get them out. And it's always funny. Everybody's always like, "Oh, give me this one or that one." Like Agent Iron Spiders wants Kara back. Your bounty hunter doesn't need to have 6 other chicks anymore? Wait, what? No. See, I think Mako's still a body type 1. She's been working out in that prison. She's been, being held in. It's pretty funny. When I found this out, I posted this thing in the influencers chat where it's a scene from one of the Schwarzenegger movies where he's like putting on the face paint and he's like, shh, 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 with all the guns. And I'm like, that's going to be me. I'm like, where's Mako? Where is she? I'm going to go Batman on him. Where's the bomb? They're like, there's no bomb, sir. Oh, sorry. Subscriber rewards as we sort of wrap up this little section here. We have a series of sub promotions throughout the next few months. Look for details in your email or on the launcher or on the SWTOR website. For example, February, Share the Love started yesterday and ends on the 27th. If you are unfamiliar with Share the Love, everybody's going to be getting the NVIDIA speeder and armor. Which actually, it's a good-looking speeder and a good-looking armor set, so I'm really happy that everybody's going to be getting that stuff. That's a pretty good Christian Bale Batman voice. I mean, we could go Adam West and just dance around for a while. We could do that. And so to wrap this up officially for this Beyond the April discussion, as we look back and now beyond the conclusion of the traitor storyline, we are planning to continue delivering content in the same manner. So, story flashpoint, story flashpoint, story flashpoint. Okay. I really wish they wouldn't do that. I mean, here's what I want, all right? Here's what I want. I want them to go back to Shadow of Revan, Rise of the Hutt Cartel, right? I just want, all right, expansion, boom, full planet, full big planet. All right, here, I'm gonna draw on the screen. Hold on one second. Where's my whiteboard at? Where's my whiteboard? Did I get rid of it? Oh, we're gonna fix this. We're gonna do it live, guys. We're gonna do it live. All right. This is what I want, all right? I want a planet that looks like this. And it's got stuff on it, like continents and water, right? I want a full planet with datacrons, side missions, planetary mission, galaxy mission, maybe even a flashpoint, maybe even an operation, right? And then it's got a moon. And the moon is called Rory. We're going to have an R right there with my awesome drawing. And this is Naboo. Mind blown. That's actually true, by the way. One of Naboo's moons is Rory. Then we get into the big debate of, all right, which planet does everybody want to see? As Ark just says, Mandalore. Give me Naboo, give me Dantooine, give me Dathomir. R2 says, Flashpoint story, Flashpoint story, Flashpoint story. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of joking around, but we all know what we're going to be getting. We've talked about it time after time again. Haha, hunting Gungans. You know, we've been looking for new events in this game. That could be one of them. Yeah, Kashyyyk, Wookiee Homeworld. That'd be another good one. Not even going to attempt to spell it. That's why you just spell it like this. There, that's close enough. Duke, hey, Big Woody X. Gungan lives matter too. And SWTOR John immediately. Nuke all the Gungans. And of course we had the great Gungan Porg War of 1812. Where you had the small porgs that looked like this. And they attacked the Gungans, who then kind of looked like this at the time. There, that's some awesome artwork right there. Whose emote is that, Ark? Somebody actually has a Porg emote? Oh, it's the one who shall not be named. I should have guessed. What about Galaxy's Edge to match the new park in Disneyland? Guess I'm not quite sure what you're talking about, Brian. Galaxy's Edge. I've heard about some really interesting attractions at Disney. Apparently there's a new VR, AR experience for Star Wars that's really, really cool. Yeah, actually, a new race. You know, I need to actually ask the devs about that, because if we don't get a new race this year, I'll be really surprised. I think we need one. We need one bad. There's also rumors that there will be another stronghold and that it's going to be Hoth, but that's a pure rumor. I cannot confirm or deny anything. Pure rumor. Which is actually, funny enough, the one I've been asking for. I'm like, I want my Hoth snow bunker with a fireplace and a glass window. And then I'm just going to sit back with my tea, looking out the window. It's going to be awesome. That is cold. They never talk about races, really. Yeah, I'd be really curious to see exactly how complicated it is to create one. Because, you know, as we know, there's already a bunch in the game that we do not have access to. So is it a matter of just having to create the the character customizer for it? Or is there more to it than that? I'd be really curious about that. No battle Porg companion. Well, some of you guys know that I made a prediction And I did the same thing for Force Awakens, and it came true. But when Force Awakens came out, I said, I guarantee you that the crossguard lightsaber will be in this game. And it happened. But then I also went on to say that there'd be some more items from Force Awakens, and they did add a couple more. So, same thing for Last Jedi. My prediction was the skiff, like the skiff mount thing that they had on the Salt Planet. I think that's going to be a mount at some point. And it would not surprise me if we did have a Porg. I think the Porg will be a pet, not a companion. And I think some of the armors that we see in the movie will also make it in. And actually, I think they've already done one, haven't they? Let me actually jump in game here. We'll get rid of the black screen, or not the black screen, but the black and gold screen here for a second. Oh yeah, they added a couple of the armors from Rogue One. Yeah, Rogue One, I actually didn't make any predictions on that one. But the Red Guard, didn't they add an armor set for those guys? Or maybe I'm thinking of something else, I don't know. No, Phoenix One, I haven't had a chance to read your message yet. The new info about Galaxy's Edge? What do you... Oh, hold on. Let me switch screens here real quick, guys. It's interesting. You can see the loading bar, but you can't see the rest of it. That's funny. Boop. We'll check out that link here in just a second. Would love to see the Crystal Wolves. Yeah, that's another one that I said might make it in as a pet, but I thought that was going to be on the lower end of possibility. Yeah, I could be totally wrong on this, but I could have swore they added that armor set. Let me take a look here real quick. Yeah, I guess I'm thinking of something else. Instead, they added this one, which some of the armor sets they've been doing recently look like they're out of Destiny. That looks like it's something out of Destiny. But one of the packs they did here recently, maybe I can just go to the end of the thing here. Let's go to armor. Let's see here. Yeah, some of these, like that one, and not so much that one. I know there's some more. Yeah, here we go. Some of these. Those are Mandalorian. That one a little bit. That one a little bit. That's Revan. That one a little bit. It's just they have a very Destiny feel to them, which is kind of crazy. Oh yeah, some of the Red Guard weapons. Oh yeah, totally. All right, let me let's check out this link here real quick. Give me 1 second here. Oh, you guys are talking about this thing. Okay, I did see something about this. So this is the new attraction that they're talking about. Which server do I play on? I actually play on 3 servers. Satil, Malgus, and the other one that I can never remember the name. Starforge. What's my take on the D&D writers from Game of Thrones going to do a Star Wars series? Well, hopefully they can, you guys can always remember Starforge, but I can't for whatever reason. It's like a memory block or something. I say Starforge and it kicks in Order 66. And I'm like, no, hopefully the Game of Thrones guys will do something cool. So if you figure that they are doing a trilogy, Rian Johnson's doing a trilogy, the Obi-Wan movie, and Solo, which isn't out yet, you know, that's 8 Star Wars films that are coming out this year and beyond. Actually, no, we've got the next Skywalker movie too. So there's actually more than that. But there's a lot of Star Wars movies coming out. Yeah, rumor is that they're going to be doing a TV series too, because Disney is going to be doing a streaming service, and as part of that, it sounds like the Star Wars series is going to be on that streaming service. Star Wars is going to become too commercialized? Maybe. We'll see. I mean, I think for the most part, everybody's been okay with Marvel doing 3 films a year. What if they start doing 3 Star Wars films a year? I mean, I don't see that happening. Maybe they'll take it to 2. But it's like, are you guys okay with 2 Star Wars films a year? If they're able to keep up the quality, that's the thing. You know, like Black Panther's premiering tonight. I'm gonna go see it tomorrow. But like on IMDb, it's a 98%. It's like every Marvel movie is in the 90s or 80s generally. It's like, how can they keep up that level of quality? Jalen says, no, go back to every 2 years. Oh, yeah, I heard about something going on. So Filoni was actually on GMA today, because I know that they were doing something. He hinted that the next Star Wars animation series is going to take place between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens. Well, that's cool. Well, going back to the Game of Thrones guys working on a Star Wars movie trilogy, I really hope they do Old Republic. Rian Johnson has already confirmed that his trilogy is not Old Republic, but the new guys haven't said anything. So maybe, cross your fingers, that the new guys will be doing something either in this timeline or something similar. That'd be really cool. They just can't leave this Skywalker era. Well, okay, here's my theory on the whole Skywalker movie thing. So they're going to end it, right? They're going to end it with 9. And I think there's already been some comments by Daisy Ridley on how she said something about she doesn't want to play Rey forever. So I have a feeling like what they're going to do is they're going to end with episode 9. So, you know, Finn, Rey, that crew. And they're going to go ahead and they're going to do these other films. And then, like, 10 years down the road, they will do a new trilogy with that cast again. That's my theory. So they're kind of going to... They're going to do what they did with, you know, Mark Hamill and Harrison and those guys. But they're not going to wait that long. They'll wait like 10 years or whatever and then do a new trilogy. Exactly. Master Ray. Yeah. You don't think that's going to happen? I think episode 9 is going to be super interesting because, you know, we now know what their plan was, right? We know that Harrison died in his movie, Luke died in his movie, then Carrie was going to die in her movie. Well, now that can't happen, so what are they going to do with 9? You know, I think we're going to see a completely different movie in a 9 than what they had originally planned. So that movie, whatever it was, is now lost to us. You've got mail. You know, in the expanded universe, Chewbacca did die. Didn't he blow up a planet or a moon or something? Jalen, are you here? You could probably tell us. Oh, got crushed. I knew it was something like that. Got crushed by a moon. Yeah, I'll turn this on so we got a little bit of background noise. How do moons fall? Very carefully. You strap a rocket to the back side and you just kind of push it. Chewie died saving Han's son. Which one? So, I know we've gone off on a little bit of a tangent here, but anybody have any other questions or final thoughts regarding this roadmap? So, again, the roadmap only covers the next 2 updates up through April, which is 5.9, and then we'll see how big of a gap there is between 5.9 and 6.0. What do you mean, Wisebot? What do you mean live under Star Wars The Old Republic? I've been live under SWTOR for like the last hour. I think Wisebot's going crazy. You want me to reread the first paragraph? But why, Ark? But why? We've already been over it. Were there people who came in and missed the first part? Well, if there, I guess a super quick recap. So March 13th is going to be game update 5.8. They're adding in the 5th and final boss. So that raid will be done. If you actually manage to go in and kill that boss, they are going to be doing some special rewards, an achievement, a title, and then something legacy-based reward. And then they did mention that the title and reward will be given out in 5.9. The Conquest Changes are cool. Yeah, I think that seems to be the one thing that everybody is liking. And like I was saying a little bit earlier, the Conquest system is something I've never really participated in because I've never really been in a guild who wanted anything to do with it. But those people who I do know who are into the Conquest system, they seem to really like these changes because the Conquest system has been a little kind of iffy for a while now, I think. So hopefully this will really fix things up. No more expansions from Keith's eyes? That doesn't surprise me. What are they going to do for more casual players? I believe they said that 2018, their focus was group content, considering that the last couple of years, their focus was single-player content. So I would say, Jalen, nothing. I mean, technically, these, like, here in 5.9, this right here, that'll be single-player. This right here, single-player content. But it's also group content. But it's basically just continuing the story. Novik says kick him out. You're going to kick out all the casuals. Nuke the casuals. But yeah, I think in the end, this expansion, you know, 6.0, it's going to be the real mystery. And I think what they have in 6.0, if they do call it an actual expansion, let's actually back up and say that. They have said 6.0 confirmed. They have said expansion confirmed. But I think what they actually have in 6.0, that is really going to tell us what this game is going to be all about moving forward. If 6.0 comes out, they call it an expansion, and it's just another flashpoint with a story, another PvP thing, maybe Battleground. Maybe they up the command ranks, and then maybe one other quick little thing, whatever it is. If they call that the expansion, then we know we're in trouble, I think. But it's been said before that I mean, I want to say that everybody who works at BioWare is absolutely fantastic. We cannot blame the developers of this game for the current predicament that they are in. This is EA stripping them of resources. Star Wars: The Old Republic was designed from the start to be a massive MMO, one of the most expensive ever made, and to be worked on by 100 people at all times. When you take that away, this is what we're going to be getting. You need a World of Warcraft size dev team working on this game for it to be at its full potential, and that is most likely never going to happen again. Now, Jalen is saying, so they are at what, 20 people? Officially, we don't have any official numbers. They'll never release any official numbers. We can only take some guesses based on what little information we have. The number I have thrown out is 30. 30 or less. And who knows how many of them are actually full-time. Because I'm sure what they do is because they do have the resources of EA. That every once in a while, they'll say, oh, we need a little help with something. And then they'll be able to pull in, you know, somebody to help with a little project here or there, something like that. You know, and of course, there's other reports out there. We know that the game engine that this game is running on is pretty old at this point. We also know that this game engine can be, at times, difficult to work on. It's not a newer engine that they're using for a lot of these other games, so it's like, oh, we need to make a new op for SWTOR. Well, one, who knows how to program on this old engine, right? And who who wants to take the time for something like that? So that's another issue. Can they upgrade the engine? No. No. They can only do so much with it. But again, it comes down to the time, money, and resources. Time, money, and resources. ArenaNet's got a staff of 32. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Guild Wars 2 does pretty good. Novik, you're funny. But they can optimize it to work smoother with the new hardware. Well, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, let's do that, but then we're taking time away from new content. And I've heard them say that before. In community Q&As, it's like, okay, what would you rather have us do? Optimize the game or make something new? And everybody always says, well, make something new. And you know, last year in particular, they did add optimization to the game. I mean, the fact that they even put the game on new servers, I think that was definitely a big help to a lot of people. But they did add in some options. I think they, because I did a video, I'd have to look up and see when I did that video. But they added in a couple things here. They added in, I think it was enhanced shadows. This is new. So that was something new they added. And I want to say they did another pass on something else last year too, but I can't remember what it was. Make something new that works. But the big message that I'm trying to convey when it comes to that is, I know a lot of people like to really rag on the game, but at this point we got to remember, all right, time, money, resources, minimal dev team. So, with what I just said, what are the real expectations? Like I was saying, oh boy, I'd love a new planet with all this stuff. It's, you know, odds are it'll never happen. I'm waiting to be surprised, though. I'm waiting to be surprised. Well, for those who are watching this on YouTube, I think that's going to go ahead and do it for this video / stream. So, of course, if you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. Thank you all so much for watching. And with that being said, everybody keep playing and have fun. Okay. That was for my YouTube recording.